All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 563 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Look, man, I don't think y'all understand what's going on here. Something's big is happening, and I don't know if it's going to convert the wins. I don't know if it's going to convert the Super Bowls or whatever, but the culture is absolutely different at Flowery Branch. It's not even close from what it used to be. The Falcons just confirmed that in this excellent video that they put out on Twitter and YouTube. It's called Atlanta Falcons on the Rise, season 3, episode 1. I'm not going to go through the entire video on this episode because basically it's like 9 minutes and it's about the same amount of time that I usually do. My podcast is around 9 to 15 minutes. So I don't want to use that time to do the whole rundown of that quick little episode. But I'm going to give you a synopsis and give you my thoughts and opinions of that episode or this video, because this really tells you what the Falcons are trying to do. And I think we really need to, applaud this organization, because we've been in some crazy moments for the past 4 or 5 years, and you see where things are changing. And this is all confirmation. So I'm going to talk about that. If this is your first time here, welcome. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. Find your avenue where you want to find the show. I highly recommend subscribing to more than one. Try YouTube and one of the podcast avenues, or Rumble and one of the podcast avenues, because sometimes it gets a little wonky. One episode will be up on the podcast avenue, but not on YouTube, and vice versa. It is weird. It's technology. Other than that, I really appreciate you coming through here. And also, I have a new website, firstandframerates.com, firstandframerates.com. Over there, I talk about Georgia Southern Atlanta Falcons football as well. There's pretty much a hub where the podcast and the YouTube videos, and I'm going to put some other stuff over there, probably like a weekly blog or something, where I can give you my thoughts and opinions in written form about what's going on with these teams and the Sun Belt, as well as the Falcons and the NFC South. Now, finally, before I get into this, I will be talking Georgia Southern next episode, because the spring game is coming up this upcoming Saturday. So please be on the lookout for that. And unless something happens and something wild breaking news happens, we're going to be focused on the Georgia Southern Eagles. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. I looked at this video probably about 2 or 3 times, probably 3 or 4 times. I'll be honest, I looked at it about 5 times. And it basically gives you a rundown of all the free agency signings that they've made. And some of the free agent prospects have been, they commentated on the video. And it really gives you a sense of direction of what Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith are trying to do. The first 2 seasons basically was a wash, because you didn't get this much hype when it came to, going into another season. The first season, it was all basically about Kyle Pitts, how big of a freak of a nature of an athlete he was. So that was the big talk. Then the second year, we started talking more about the Drake London pick. And then we also talked about the Arnold Ebiketie pick. But we never really talked about anything in the offseason, because we really wasn't able to really sign people. And to be honest with you, the guys that they signed in these first 2 years on 1-year deals, whatever the case may be, were actually really solid signings. We went 7-10 the first 2 seasons. Both seasons went 7-10. And for me, it was more like they definitely overachieved, because this team they had no business winning 7 games on both seasons. We didn't have a receiver the first season. In the second season, we didn't have any, we didn't have a quarterback, basically. So it was really a testament to good coaching. And now we went from 80-something million in dead cap money after the Matt Ryan trade to having almost 82 million in cap space. And you saw what has happened. They signed Calais Campbell. They end up getting Jesse Bates. They signed Scotty Miller, Mac Hollins. We end up getting some guys on the front line, a couple guys from the Saints. I mean, it's Bud Dupree. I went to 2 guys from the Saints, Caden Ellis, and we end up getting Adamaya, Jonnu Smith. Well, that's from a trade, but you get what I'm saying. We're getting guys here that's pretty much trying to change the culture. And if you listen to this video, pretty much all those guys, even Mike Hughes, You can listen to those guys. These guys are really dedicated to what the Falcons are doing. I don't know what Arthur Smith has told these guys or sold them. I don't know what Terry Fontenot talked to them or sold them, but they sold them something, and they got these guys to come here. Yeah, obviously money is a factor, but they could have, went somewhere else that's probably that has a pedigree of winning. There were some teams that they could have went to that they probably could have been, in contention. But when you look, you know what? Let's be honest, and we have to be honest with ourselves because sometimes we are all caught up in our feelings as fans. Oh, we don't have this particular player on the team, so the GM should be fired. We have to be honest with ourselves. If you look at this division, like dead serious, Bryce Young going to the Panthers is not going to change the whole dynamic of the NFC South. Yes, he's going to be a formidable, possibly a franchise QB for that team, but it's not going to tilt the balance of the NFC South. David Carr or Derek Carr going to the Saints is not tipping the balance of the NFC South. Tom Brady leaving, the Bucs did. Baker Mayfield did not. Didn't change a thing. It didn't change much. All these moves that the Falcons are making, it kind of negates what you may or may not feel about the quarterback position. I mean, we just have to be honest. Now, does that mean Desmond Ridder's going to be the guy and he's going to do this and that? No, it doesn't mean that. But I still, with all these pieces around him, give the guy a shot. And I'm not saying it just to be an advocate for him. I'm just like, we have to understand what's going on here. The Falcons collectively are making a really big push to do something special. They're bringing guys in, whatever you may feel about them, you have to just sit back and be like, you know what? They're actually making some very solid moves. And you gotta, in my opinion, you just gotta respect it. It's hard not to respect. If you're a fan of football and not a fan of just watching this team continue to fail, you have to sit back and like, all right, these guys are changing what the Falcons used to be. This is not your Mike Smith, Bobby Petrino, Jim Mora, God rest his soul, Dan Reeves. I love the guy. He sent us to our first Super Bowl. This is not that type of Falcons team anymore. I think we all saw that for the past 2 years. Even with the cap space that they were dealing with back then, they tried to make something happen. And they made something happen with 7 wins each year, the first 2 years, with that team. How many wins you think this team can make with this team now? Now, mind you, this team that they have now could easily, on paper, and I'm not saying to be funny because, and a lot of you guys know it's true, this team could easily sweep the NFC South. That's 6 wins right there. They could sweep the NFC South with this team right now. The Buccaneers having problems. People are talking about Devin White want to get traded. I think somebody else out there want to get traded. The Panthers aren't as formidable as they were. They lost their receiver. Bryce Young's coming in with really nobody to throw to. Christian McCaffrey's not there. Yeah, I think Foreman left. I'm not 100% sure. Now, don't quote me on that. I think their running back Foreman is left. They used to be on the Falcons. I think he's gone. And the Saints, hell, we got a handful of their defensive players and a defensive coordinator, and a defensive line coach is now a defensive coordinator. We could sweep. That's 6 wins right there. So you mean to tell me they're not going to win any other games out of the division? I mean, just with the way that they're changing the culture here, they look like they Calais Campbell saying that we could shock some people, probably see us playing in January. The way the confidence building, the mentorship, the talent level that they're bringing in, this team could easily win 3 more games than they did last year. And that's 10 wins. And that's just being generous. So I'm sitting here thinking, like, looking at this video once again, and I'm like, wow, I've never seen this before. I'd never seen the Falcons put this together like this. It's just a whole different mindset. When Jim Moore was here, you didn't have this. When Mike Smith was here, you didn't have this. When Bobby Petrino, we didn't even talk about Bobby Petrino. Dan Quinn, I didn't even talk about him yet. He definitely didn't have this type of mentality going into a season or just going in free agency. It's just a different bug right now. And we just have to understand that it's okay to be critical. But it's not okay to be delusional. I'm not gonna sit here and say this team's going to win less than 7 games. With the way this team is assembled, it'd be a damn shame if they win less than 7 games, because it makes no sense. You set up all this talent, whatever you may feel about Desmond Ridder, he is set up to succeed. And to be honest, that's what you want your quarterback to be. You don't want your quarterback to be doing everything and put everything on his back. You want good players, good to great players around him. So his job could be easier, where all he has to worry about is reading the field. He doesn't have to worry about doing everything because other people are lacking. I think we're starting to get a feel of what a complete team could look like. I mean, in the long run, how did this fold? I don't know. Desmond Ridder could be a bust. I ain't gonna say a bust, he's not a first round pick, but you know what I mean. He may not pan out. All these other guys who picked up on defense might not, do what they're supposed to do. They may not be able to bring the wins or bring the nastiness or bring that toughness that we want. It's a possibility. Because anything's possible, but at the same time, right now, it is not far-fetched to sit back and be like, you know what? These boys are doing something nice. They're doing something good. I like what they're doing here. Now, the draft is about to come up in a week. It's going to be really interesting to see who they pick, because we don't know. They're really keeping their whole draft thing close to them. Last year, we kind of had an idea of Drake London possibly was going to be a pick. We knew Kyle Pitts was going to be number 4. Don't really know what's going on now, because they done signed every place except for the running back position. They didn't do that. But I can see them doing it, but I would like for them to get another running back who can catch out the backfield, because Tyler Algier is formidable. It's formidable. Bijan Robinson is a generational talent as well, but we just don't know. We don't know. Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, that's my personal pick who I think they're going to pick up is Nolan Smith. But we don't know. But I feel at the end of the day, we should respect what's going on here, because this is nice. This is the culture is changing. And I think we need to start changing with it. I know fans don't do that until they start seeing wins. And some fans want to make excuses of why teams win and when teams lose. It just comes with the territory. But at the end of the day, I try to be as level-headed as possible when it comes to this team. I don't see no downside to seeing these guys giving Desmond Ridder a chance. At least this 1 year. I get it. If he doesn't make it happen this 1 year, move on from him. Go get Caleb Williams. But I don't see this team doing worse than what they did last year. I don't see a team winning 6 games or less. I just don't see that. Just the division alone, I feel like they could sweep the division. I don't see no team in the NFC South that could beat this team on paper right now. And I said on paper. But we'll see. Ooh, excuse me. I knew that was coming. I knew that sneeze was coming. Sorry about that. Let's get it. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know what you guys think. Man, am I tripping? Do I think the coach is changing? You look at this video, you really have to understand what's going on. These guys are making it happen. This video was on their Twitter and on their YouTube. It's not hard to find. Just type in Atlanta Falcons on Twitter or YouTube. It should pop right on up. And you can check it out yourself. 9 minutes and 30 seconds of just some fantastic Atlanta Falcons. Fantastic Atlanta Falcons. I guess you could say, hype. That's basically what it is. And, the guys who signed in free agency talk about why they came to Atlanta and how they feel and what they think they can do. You already know where I stand. I think this is fantastic. I think this is something that really needs to be built upon. We'll see how it goes throughout the draft, training camp, practice, what is it called? Preseason and regular season, possibly postseason. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble, also Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. Check out the website, firstandframerace.com. I'm going to get out of here. The Street Fighter 6 demo was just released. I'm going to play a little bit of that demo, and I'm going to call it a night. All right, y'all. Y'all take it easy, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Y'all be blessed. Peace.